Did you happen to see the group of tourists who were on the gondola in Venice and they wouldn't listen to the gondolier and they kept on taking selfies and they ended up falling in the canal? That was priceless. I love it. It's social media in a nutshell, man. But I gotta at least thank social media a little bit because we're here, we're doing this, we're breaking down Roma Fiorentina. And the first thing that we can jump right in to starting formations here. I got a new look going on. Thank you, Francisco 24 Designs, for this layout. But here we go from GDS, and I will tell you a little bit of my opinion on this, what we got going on here. Wait, there we go. We have got oh, I hit the wrong button. There we are. Thank you for your patience. So from left to right, we see Indica, Llorente, Mancini, who will definitely be starting. We're going to look at a little interview that he gave on Instagram Live yesterday. On the left side there, now this is Gazzetta dello Sport, and they believe that Pellegrini will be featuring with Cristante and Paredes. So the way that this works is it becomes more of a 3-4-3. So Pellegrini would push up as like this winger, left wing / nobody really knows what he does type of thing. And I'm not trying to be tongue in cheek there. I'm just like in a serious way. We don't know exactly like what his constant position is. But I'll just read as this reloads. Dybala will be there with Lukaku, and Cristante and Paredes will be we call it a double pivot. It's not really a pivot as much as it is a constant. It's not like, I would say, like a release of a type. That's really what a double pivot is about. But here, the whole thing is based upon Pellegrini being that attacking midfielder, while Paredes and Cristante hold. And Paredes sits a little bit deeper with Cristante, and Brian gets a little bit more freedom. By the way, he's now the Serie A player who's played the most in 2023, over 4,000, I don't know, something. I'll get back to that stat. But anyway, it's Cristante. Christensen out on the right. I think he'll probably get the start too, 50-50, him and Karsdorp. We look at the bench, La Panquina, and we see Selic there, Karsdorp, Pesili Awar, who I don't think is going to get much time with Pellegrini coming back to fitness. Bove, who he's working himself in being a dependent starter. So maybe you see a little bit of a change here, but I think with that Pellegrini experience he's going to get the start. El Shaarawy and Belotti, Azmoun, so Renato Sanchez, Zalewski as well. Not a bad bench. As we come against a Fiorentina, I want to start at the very top of this. So over the past season, Fiorentina have switched up with Beltran, their 22-year-old Argentinian striker who they've just bought in for a decent amount of money, with Enzola, who they also paid a good amount for from Spezia. And Enzola is the guy who started for them when they won their only match against a big opponent, which was Napoli. And they win that when Napoli's having their hard time under Rudy Garcia. Okay, he's done a good job being a team player. He hasn't gotten too many goals. I think it's just 2 so far. But we also look at Kwame, who I think is pretty decent. He's quick, he's shifty, he's hard to cover. But Bonaventura, he's got 6 goals. He's their leader with goals, tied with Nico Gonzalez, who I believe is training alone there, as I'm reading in Italian. So he's doing some solo work. Maybe he gets a throw in there for a substitution. But we've got that big absence there with Nicolas Gonzalez, 6 goals for each of them. And Bonaventura has been playing lights out football. Aging, people keep saying like fine wine. It's definitely true. He's in a Chianti at the very least. Arthur and Duncan. Duncan leads his Fiorentina with 3 assists. And Sotil, who's becoming the most dangerous. Well, I can't say the most dangerous winger because that's Gonzalez. But Sotil's coming into his own. He's maturing as a player. A true number 7 at the left. Is not shy of trying to put Atira Gir, that left-footed, or I should say right-footed curler to the left post, the opposite corner there. Their captain Biraghi with Ranieri and Quarta and Coyote and Terracciano in net. Biraghi is a player I respect a lot. He's the Fiorentina captain. And we look at their bench. Any names here which might stand out? Milenkovic, Parisi. Yeah, I can't understand why Parisi wouldn't be starting, but that's because Biraghi is experienced. It's a little weird how they're so heavy in that position. Maxime Lopez surprises me that he comes on the bench. Another player that Fiorentina paid money for, as well as Barak, Brecolo as well. And Zola, like they think he'll be on the bench, but this Fiorentina has some depth to them. Rocco Commisso has built a decent squad. Looking at the players who are out, Dodo 5 months, Castrovilli 2 more months, Gonzalez, as we'll see, as we mentioned, and Icone has a fever. So could we see Brecalo slot in there? That wouldn't be natural for him to go on the right. Maybe it becomes Barak, maybe a little bit of a different setup from Fiorentina. But the one thing that we could say with La Viola is we know that they're gonna approach this match in a way which is smash and grab. They're going to play low block. They're going to get the ball out to their wingers, look for something quick, deadly, get into the center forward who doesn't have to take too many touches and get something in on goal. But it is worth taking a look at, I think, Brecalo, who is kind of like this unsung hero so far in Serie A. He was at Torino. I thought he was really impressive, to be honest with you. 25 years old, and I was looking through his Wikipedia page, and one thing I came across was a bit of an interesting fact that his father was a professional, 21 years old. He's in the Bosnian War, gets hurt. His family's originally from Bosnia, even though he's Croatian, and he was probably going to have a career, it looks like, and the war comes around, gets injured, and that becomes it. But his son's doing pretty well. I wonder if he's ever going to take off, and I wonder the same with Barak, who I imagined getting a lot more time, becoming like a set starter. He's one of those low sock ballers we always talk about. But I think we could move on from the starting formations now. That's what it's going to look like. You got your Dybala, your Lukaku, Pellegrini's back. Will it be Karsdorp or Christensen? We'll see. But we pretty much know what we're going to get out of Roma. I think, to leave off on this, that it is going to be Enzola who gets to start over Beltran. He's more experienced. He's got a bunch of goals last season when he came over to Fiorentina, and the season before that, I believe both were in the double digits. So he can handle that pressure. Beltran, 22 years old, doesn't have, I don't think, more than 2 goals at this point. One of those is in the Conference League where they won like 6-1, 6-0. But Fiorentina's recent form has been a little bit up and down. Yesterday they went in the Coppa Italia. They went the full 90. The extra halves, they went to penalty kicks against Parma. They end up winning that one. So they, I think, are this team who they've got a lot of potential. And like I said, they've got depth. And if they can weather the storm, they could easily be in like 6th or 7th place, which I think has to be their target. 5th to me is a little bit too reaching for them. But let's go now on to a bit of cooler news or interesting stuff here, is that there's a rumor that Roma and Adidas could come together to recreate the 1992-94 kit here, the classic one that Totti made his debut in. And I mean, how cool would that look with a number 21 Dybala on the back? I think it would be awesome. Some other graphics. I don't know if you got a chance to see what I've been cooking up on social media here. If you go back to my pictures, you scroll a little bit down, it's been going around the airwaves. I see people using them too. I'm going to go to my page real quick and scroll down, and you're going to see that GTA 6 leaked trailer a la Jose Mourinho. We've got Dybala's here. AI is insane. I don't fully understand how it all works. I just know that I've been messing around, and I put in Jose Mourinho as a boss, and it came back with some pretty wild pictures here. This one, I'm a little afraid. I mean, he's got his collar unbuttoned. He's got that little swagger to him. Like, I don't know. What has Jose been up to? The pink blazer. This man is feeling himself, but it is time to look at his press conference. So this was after the Sassuolo-Roma match, and it's not that long. I figured we could go through everything here. So the reporter from DAZN says, today there was the right attitude, and today you won at the last minute. By the way, guys, if you are new here, subscribe, throw in a like, all that good stuff. Leave comments too. Let me know what you're thinking about things so far, what you think about the episode, what you want more, less of, whatever. He says, it's a victory for the players and Roma supporters who arrived at the stadium. I thank the owners and Pinto, who in the last 24 hours have given and offered me support and emotional stability I need to carry out this job. So I'm very, very happy for the players and all of us. He says, I want to dedicate a word to my fantastic assistant, Foti, who was out but worked a lot for this victory because of his suspension. Then he spoke in Portuguese, and he said, because my Italian is not sufficiently polished and strong to express certain concepts. He says, when I talked about emotional stability, I was talking about a quality necessary in football to perform at the highest levels. When Sassuolo didn't receive the ball because of my staff, I approached my colleague and said that to receive fair play, it is necessary to give it. And in Sassuolo, there's a player who lacks this quality. He's talking about Berardi for that horror tackle against El Shaarawy. Berardi is a player I like a lot. I haven't fully forgiven him for that miss, which would have gotten Italy into the World Cup. But you know what? That tackle's unacceptable. Like, brother, you are a professional. You're a full-grown man. You're in your late 20s. You know not to make that tackle. I don't know what he's thinking. That's amateur. Maybe that's why you've been at Sassuolo your whole career, and it took until you were in your absolute prime for Juventus to even consider touching you. What do you think about that one? To Roma TV. If we had lost 1-0, it would have been frustrating because the team played really well against an excellent one who usually controls matches with quality possession, but we did it. We played very well, and it's the players' victory of the fans who are extraordinary. I thank the owners and Pinto for the emotional support I needed for this match. I want to dedicate this victory to a fantastic boy and fantastic coach who is Salvatore Foti again. I want to give, aside from the presser here, a shout out to Pinto. And people were like, why, Wayne? He hasn't brought in any great players. I tell you what, though, look at what he had to comply with. That was 30 million euros in sales. He cut out so much dead weight to make Roma compliant with financial fair play. Gets almost 40 million in the books. We see what's going on with Zaniolo now with Aston Villa, who are flying so high without him. Aston Villa looked like, under Emery, one of the best coach teams I've seen. They are monster athletes, excellent footballers. But back to Roma here. Okay, I like this question. How strong is this Roma psychologically? He says, we worked hard to have this permanent attitude. Today at halftime, we were losing, but I was calm and satisfied with the boys. If we had lost, I would have gone to Trigoria. I lived there, he says, frustrated, but not sad with them. They were a team from the first minute. For now, we can breathe. Now there will be a match on Sunday, and we can breathe a little because it was hard. So he's mentioning that Roma did not have to play in a cup competition in Europe, which I'm hoping is really beneficial for them just to get back on the training ground. Last question. Satisfied with the match and the refs? He says, I'm very happy with the team. Great match. Even when there was a disadvantage, which was a result that left me frustrated because I was optimistic. The team always present on the pitch. The feeling always positive. Always feeling conversation with the owners and the team. But today's win belonged to the players and these incredible fans. I'm happy with the reaction. For the ref, although I cannot think that in a match where there were episodes like a red card and a penalty, it would have been easy to say that the performance had been good, but it's true. That's what I think. While in other matches, they had shown some gaps. Today, Sash changed their attitude and are still a difficult team to face, but I'm happy with my team. Look, people can get on Mourinho for being down to Sassuolo and having to make this comeback to them. And, with the red card, that changes it. Roma then get their opportunities. They draw level. They go ahead. They get the winning goal. People are like, yeah, but Wayne, how come the team can't invent when it's full strength? How come they can't control against the Sassuolo? Where's the ideas? Where the creativities? And I hear you. At times, I want more creativity. I want the manager to figure things out and get more scoring opportunities sometimes too. We all do, whether you're like a Mourinho diehard or you hate him, whatever. But the one thing I don't think you can ever take away from Mourinho is the attitude. And for so long in my life, I've watched players come to Roma, treat it as a vacation, come here, show up late, whatever, have this wishy-washy attitude, not fight for the shirt. And that's just not how I think. I adore guys like Raja Nainggolan, Daniele De Rossi. I always have. So for me, a manager who comes in and instills that same type of responsibility, mentality, and does not give the players any alibis, like many managers have in the past, Di Francesco, even Fonseca, to me, it's very important, regardless if there's tactical limitations or not. And some of you might be like, Wayne, what tactical limitations jumping down my throat? Look, sometimes Roma hasn't played good enough, and you have to accept that too. All right, we'll move on to Mancini's interview that he gave on Instagram. I like this question, the captain's armband. He says, here in Rome, it's an important thing that I've learned to understand by being here, an honor to wear it, even if our captain is a super captain like Lorenzo Pellegrini. Then speaks about how Gasparini was his coach who had the most impact. He said, he made me grow in every aspect. Today, I have the best, and I learn from him every day in every aspect, tactical and psychologically. Gasparini is a tactician, man. He's the only manager I know to do, what do you call it when you make like a diamond, when you shuffle from one side of the field, when you like outnumber the opponent. There's a word for it, but he was always doing with Papu Gomez, with Ilicic, who I really miss Ilicic. But anyway, he's just great tactically. He's a unique brain for sure. Speaks about how Spinazzola had the biggest impact for him as a teammate when they were in Perugia and he was going through a tough time. He said he told me not to give up and he was there for him. Tells that he's not fearing Spain at all. And his most difficult opponent, Gonzalo Higuain. I have to say Gonzalo was probably the best striker in the past 10 years, the past decade in Serie A. What do you think of that one? Comment, let me know. The 23, that's the day that he got engaged, and the other and then married on the 23rd, and also for Marco Materazzi. His dream, winning a trophy. Being on a team with Dybala and Lukaku, he says, nice to defend against them because you can learn they're two very strong players. All right, guys, I'm going to pull this up one more time. The starting formations predicted. And like I said, I don't think it's Beltran. I think it's going to be Enzola. Any changes with Roma here? You know what? From the start, I agreed with GDS that it would be Christensen. But I'm going to settle and say it's Karsdorp. I just think Mourinho trusts him a little bit more. Talk to you soon. Live stream after the match. I'll see you there.